Birmingham Social Services say that they're now receiving more than 1,000 contacts from schools, health professionals and the public every week, reporting possible child abuse since the recent stories of star Hobson from Bradford and Arthur Labinjo Hughes from Solihull, along with some others. Birmingham's Children's Trust Chief Executive Andy Coldrick, not the same as the Children's Trust, which is a charity for children with brain injuries, said the service was under immense pressure but coping as it battles to keep youngsters safe and support families in crisis. The authority sends out an SOS to rug manufacturers in order to buy one big enough to sweep the increase in cases under. Birmingham's social workers are said to have some 20 cases on their books at a time and allegedly showing extraordinary resilience to supporting families already on their radar whilst investigating new reports. Now, I'm sorry, but I call bull crap. Now, I've had to deal with social services myself through my life, for myself and because of my kids, and although some years back, they certainly haven't been getting better at dealing with cases. They have been, however, getting better at stealing children who don't need their support and ignoring those who do. Andy Coldrick said that we are currently getting around 1,000 contacts a week, with about 20% repeat contacts or referrals, calls about the same child or family. Now that alone gives the social services a nudge to ignore reports. I know of a case I'm sort of helping with where a person made multiple genuine reports and has been given an order not to make any more, simply because the council don't believe the person, even though the children have confirmed the abuse themselves. In fact, any call this person makes or email this person sends is funneled through the council's top dog and fails to reach its intended target of someone who can actually help. It's genuinely disgusting. The rise in cases being reported are said to have been in part due to the high-profile cases of local Little Arthur, Hughes, Hakeem Hussain and Kemarni, Watson, Darby, whose social services and other local agencies failed in the worst possible way. Now, the stories that I've read in order to put this report together suggests that the youngsters died as a result of failings by their parents. And in the cases of Arthur and Kemarni, they were murdered by the people meant to be looking after them, whilst Hakeem died as a result of his drug addict's mother's negligence. Then, in a very short statement afterwards, says, but in each of these tragic cases, alarms were raised or there were missed opportunities to intervene. Now, there was plenty of emotional value to the first paragraph about how the children were fouled by their parents, which of course is evident, but simply a few basic words about how authorities fouled the poor children. And this is how the mainstream media and authorities work to take the blame away from themselves and put it on other people. Andrew Coldrick said cases like Arthur and Hakeem and Little Star, a child murdered in Bradford, are relatively rare and sadly have always existed. No system can be completely safe. But the reason such awful cases of child torture and murder makes headlines is they happened in ordinary domestic settings, under the noses of professionals, of neighbours and professionals, and when there were chances to avert tragedy. Yes, neighbours who likely made reports about the abuse too, but had their reports ignored. Still trying to pass the blame, I see. We are getting more contacts and referrals than we have ever had from a variety of different sources, from schools and from family members. This is good, as it means we are alert to the issues facing that family. No, it's only good if something's actually done about it. Let's make it clear. Sometimes contact with us will be about something that is very clear information that we can act on quickly. For example, when a child says something which a teacher which triggers a concern. No, it is more nebulous, like a neighbour raising a concern about a child or a parent. Bollocks. Rubbish. As I've said, I know of children saying something to a teacher and their case still being ignored. And I bet some of you do too. Coldrick said, "What we do is to arrange an assessment of the situation. In some cases, we will set up a strategy meeting, bringing together police, social workers, health and education to share information and agree a plan for immediate investigation. Yeah, and sometimes they call in the janitor to sweep it all under the carpet. In some cases, he said, of course, we will take absolutely immediate action because there is a requirement to safeguard a child immediately. We are able to apply for an urgent court order while the police can take a child into police protection. But more commonly, we will be going out to begin the process of understanding what is happening and what needs to be done to support the family. Always with the intention of safeguarding the child. Yeah, and in general, the cases that you take so-called immediate action on tend to be the situations where kids are not necessarily in immediate danger. I believe fostering is a very lucrative business these days. Andy Caldrick was asked if social workers are sometimes too trusting of parents and in fact don't remove children often enough. He said, I think this dilemma absolutely exemplifies why social work is such a hard job. We are asking social workers to work out which parents who, despite challenges, can be supported to look after their child well enough and which aren't, often in a short timescale. When we get it right, which is in the vast majority of cases, nobody hears about it. Nobody hears about the children who successfully continue to live safely within their family, nor about the children who come into foster care at the right time, are well cared for and go on to be adopted. Those stories don't attract any attention. It must be right that society tries to help parents change their behaviour before we say this is not good enough and we have to do something different. Going into care can be the right thing for some children, absolutely, and it changes many lives for the better. Now, to make it clear, my comments are not specifically about Birmingham's Children's Trust. I don't know anything about them. My comments are directed at social workers, social services, local authorities whose job it is to offer assistance and protect children. Unfortunately, it's all too often that they do fail, often over things that could easily have been done, for example, believing a report when it comes in rather than fobbing it off as malicious. Granted, malicious complaints are made, but to approach so many complaints as being malicious leads to opportunity missed in safeguarding children. You would think that as a society, we would have nailed this protecting children by now. I mean, I've had good and bad interactions with social services. Although it was a judge who gave me custody of my children initially, when I found that they were in immediate danger due to drug taking going on in the house when they were 2 and 3. But as soon as social services got involved, guess what? The kids were taken back off me and put back in a situation where they were around somebody that was taking drugs. I genuinely don't know what to say, but I do know that things are very, very badly broken within the system. As I say, I'm working with somebody at the moment on a situation which I cannot give any more information on at the time, but you will find out in due course. And it is frankly sickening and frightening that so little can be done when so much evidence is made available.